Have you ever stopped to think about what really makes the universe tick? I mean, the fundamental forces. Well, ancient yogic sciences had this amazing way of looking at it. They basically boiled everything down to two primal energies, fire and water. But, and this is the cool part, they weren't just talking about the elements you see in nature. No, this is all about a deep inner alchemy, something that promises to unlock totally new states of consciousness. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, listen to this. We have drunk the soma. We have become immortal. Wow, that's from the ancient Rig Veda, and it talks about this super mysterious thing called soma, a substance that could supposedly make you immortal and give you divine insight. But here's the twist, right? What if soma isn't some plant you go find in the wild? What if it's something you actually create inside yourself? That idea right there is the key to everything we're going to talk about. All right, so to really get our heads around this, we've got to look at the big picture, the blueprint of the universe, at least how Vedic and Tantric philosophy saw it. And it all starts with this really beautiful, simple idea of duality. You've probably heard of yin and yang, right? That classic idea from Taoism, two forces that are opposites, but they totally need each other to create balance. Well, think of this as the Vedic version of that. They had their own cosmic power couple that's behind, well, everything, from the stars way up there to the quietest energies flowing inside of you. So let's meet our cosmic duo, Agni and Soma. On one hand, you've got Agni. Think fire, think the sun. It's all about heat, expansion, and transformation. They even call it the eater. Then you've got its polar opposite, Soma. Soma is like water or the moon. It's cool, it brings things together, it nourishes, it's the food. It's a really simple but powerful way to look at it, right? Agni is the engine that drives all change. And Soma? Well, Soma is the fuel that keeps that engine running. So let's zoom in on Agni for a second. We're not talking about a campfire here. This is our inner fire, our spiritual fire. It's that drive, that will, that perception that helps us take everything we experience and turn it into wisdom. You can almost think of it as the tiny spark of consciousness that's hidden inside absolutely everything. And then, of course, there's Soma. Soma is, well, it's the juicy stuff of life. The cooling liquid essence, it's the nectar, the raw material that everything is made of. It's what nourishes us and keeps things stable. It brings that feeling of bliss and contentment. At the end of the day, Soma is the substance that Agni's fire needs to burn. It's the very thing that gets transformed into that higher energy. Okay, so this is all great cosmic philosophy, but here's where it gets really personal. How do these two massive forces, Agni and Soma, actually show up inside of us? The ancient texts are super clear on this. They point to one specific place as the most concentrated, potent source of this energy in our bodies, our sexual essence. And they didn't just see it in a physical way. They saw it as the raw fuel for our focus, our vitality, our everything. So if Soma is the ultimate fuel, the ultimate food for our inner fire, where's the premium grade stuff, Where do we find its most powerful form? For that answer, we gotta turn to Ayurveda, the ancient Indian system of medicine. See, in Ayurveda, the way our body makes tissues isn't just some random biological process. They saw it as a 7-step chain of refinement. It's incredible. Each step takes the one before it and makes it more concentrated, more potent. There's less of it, sure, but what's there is way more powerful. The classic analogy is how milk becomes cream, and then that cream gets turned into butter. It's this beautiful, progressive concentration of life's essence. And what's at the very end of that chain? The 7th tissue, the reproductive fluid. This is considered the absolute pinnacle, the ultimate distillation of our life force. It's got the most concentrated energy, the most powerful form of Soma in the entire body. I mean, it literally holds the potential to create a whole new life. That's how potent it is. Okay, and this is where Tantric Yoga comes in with a totally game-changing idea. A really radical one, actually. It asks, what if, instead of letting this incredibly powerful energy flow outward, in the usual way, what if we could turn it around, turn it inward and upward, and use it as rocket fuel for our own spiritual growth? And that's what the whole practice is about. It's all about that redirection. It's a conscious decision to take the most powerful creative force we have and use it for recreation instead of procreation. The recreation of our own consciousness. It's pretty amazing when you think about it. It's like the ultimate act of self-mastery, taking our most primal instinct and channeling it toward our own evolution. This right here is the very definition of inner alchemy. The whole goal, through a bunch of specific practices, is to pull that potent soma, that reproductive essence, up from the lower parts of the body and guide it right up the spine. And at the exact same time, you're taking your mental fire, your agni, your focused attention, and drawing that inward and upward to meet it. So you're probably wondering, okay, how on earth do you do that? Well, the yogic tradition has a whole toolkit for it. You've got asana and pranayama, that's the postures and breathing exercises, which work on the physical body and the energy flows. And then you have mantra and meditation, which work on the mind. They're all about focusing that agni, that fire of your awareness, like a laser beam. Okay, so what's the grand finale? What happens when this journey up the spine actually reaches its destination? What gets created when the fire of Agni and the water of Soma finally come together? This, my friends, is the peak, the culmination of the entire practice. So this rising Agni, you might have heard it called Kundalini energy. It travels up this central channel right along the spine. And its destination is the crown chakra, that energy center right at the very top of your head. And that place is considered the home base of Soma. It's like a reservoir of this immortal nectar. And you know what happens when fire and water meet, right? They create steam or air. In this system, that third principle is called Vayu. But we're not just talking about breath here. In this inner world, Vayu represents a brand new, super creative spiritual life force. It's literally the birth of a whole new dimension of consciousness right inside you. You'll often hear this described poetically as the marriage of Shiva and Shakti. It's a beautiful metaphor. In this philosophy, Shiva is like pure, still consciousness, and Shakti is the dynamic, creative energy. So the heat from Shakti's rise melts the cool nectar of Shiva that's waiting in the crown, and boom, a flow of absolutely blissful energy is released. And that nectar, the one you created inside yourself, that is the true Soma. And just like that, we're right back where we started. That quote suddenly makes so much more sense, doesn't it? The drinker of the Soma isn't out in the forest looking for a magical plant. No, they're experiencing the incredible, blissful nectar of their own united consciousness. It's the ultimate fulfillment, and it's generated entirely from within. So, it really leaves us with a pretty deep question to chew on, doesn't it? We live in a world that's constantly screaming at us to look outside for everything, for energy, for happiness, for fulfillment. But this ancient science, it suggests that the most powerful, most blissful, most transformative elixir in the universe is already inside you, just waiting to be unlocked. It completely reframes the idea of self-improvement. It's not about adding something you don't have, it's about learning to skillfully manage the incredible energies you were born with.